As you depart Juneau Airport, views of the Mendenhall Glacier come into view. The Inside Passage of Southeast Alaska is some of Alaska's most dramatic scenery, with hundreds of miles of wild, uninhabited coast, glaciers larger than states, and the largest ice cap outside of Antarctica. In addition to these stunning glaciers, rivers, and peaks, this is home to the world's highest coastal mountains. The Inside Passage, and as we pass over Glacier Bay National Park, this is the highest concentration of tidewater glaciers in the world. Over 23,000 square miles of Alaska is covered in glaciers, an area nearly the size of West Virginia. A pro tip when flying, try to select a seat on the right-hand side of the aircraft going northbound or on the left-hand side of the aircraft going southbound for the best views. The icebergs that have calved off of these glaciers are massive. Some are the size of large buildings. Welcome to another day of adventures with Wes and Jeff, and it's Wes this time, and I'm in Yakutat, Alaska. It's a remote fishing village that's about 200 miles northwest of the capital of Alaska, Juneau, and about 350 miles southeast of Anchorage. So it's out along the shorelines of the Gulf of Alaska. So Yakutat is a small fishing village of about 690 residents. The 690 residents, more than half are of one of the 5 tribes that were the Tlingit Native Americans that still live in this area. It's a remote village. It's not really a downtown with one particular strip of buildings that you would shop at or get your go to the grocery store or that kind of thing. It's a series of different buildings around town. They do have a fishing operation here, a packaging plant because of the salmon, and they do have a hardware store. They have a general store which has a very expensive item, so you might want to bring the items that you want to have during the day here. I'm at the lower Tawah Creek trailhead, and it goes over to the creek and then it terminates there because you have to cross over, and it's close to where the Gulf comes in, the Gulf of Alaska, so it is tidal influenced. So check this one out. The trail was created on the old logging road through a wooded area with access to Tawah Creek. The U.S. Forest Service built this trail to provide access to the creek and to protect the fragile habitat of sphagnum moss, a sponge-like moss that can store large amounts of water by spreading it throughout a large wetland area. In turn, it helps control flooding and reduce erosion. Along the trail, these little red bog cranberries are buried among the moss. These are edible and have been used and harvested by the native Tlingits as subsistence food for thousands of years. Tlingit use fish traps to successfully capture the fish in the creeks and streams, utilizing the ebb and flow of tides. Check out Cannon Beach. It's over here by the airport, so just to the left. On my way over to Cannon Beach, I stopped here at the Tawah Creek. And the Tawah Creek is a frequent spot for bears, both black and the grizzly, as well as coyotes and otters and all kinds of marine life. Here at Tawah Creek, I can see fish in the water, and I see a few birds out into the estuary, the big flat part of the creek, and that's what it looks like. Got a lot of lily pads and no bears or any wildlife to speak of other than a few birds, but just really pretty. And over on this side, they've been jumping up a little bit. You can see them down in the water there. Let's see if you can see. Here at Cannon Beach, they have a little amphitheater and day use area with a cooking spot that way to the beach. But here's an old tank that was left here, and the old tank was left from the World War II days here at Cannon Beach. Pretty rustic looking. And it's right along the edge of the spruce forest, and you can actually climb up in it if you like. Cool. So I made it out here to Cannon Beach, and the waves are really, really strong out here. So this is, this is Alaska's surfing capital, and for good reason, because when the waves come up here off of the Gulf of Alaska, they can be up to 25 feet tall. So they use it as a surfing spot here in southeast Alaska. So this is Cannon Beach. Here at Cannon Beach, checking out this big old cannon that was left back from World War II days. This was a huge Alaska fortification defense area. They built the airport back then, and it's used by Alaska Airlines and other smaller carriers today for vitalization for the milk run to come in here and bring fishermen as well as tourists and surfers to this location. But this old cannon is mounted here here at Cannon Beach. It was left over from World War II. So just pretty cool old rusted thing. This as well as a tank. So yeah, back in the day it was this area was strategic on the Gulf of Alaska for fortification for military aviation area, and it was built along this Canyon Beach and some shoreline bluffs that surround it. So this was a major airport area for military landing field for the transport of aircraft between Washington State and the Air Force Base up in Anchorage. Cannon Beach here in Yakutat. This is about 3 miles from the airport, and Cannon Beach was named after some cannons that washed ashore from the 19th century shipwreck off of the coast here. So I don't see any remnants of those old cannons that was named for its namesake, but it's also for the stunning views of the Alaska, Gulf of Alaska shoreline. Here at Cannon Beach, there's a nice little trail that goes along the coastline. You can links from the cannon over to the tank, as well as other stuff that's along the way. This rusted old pieces of cannons and different things that they left behind. Got a little wave action here, yeah. Here in Yakutat, I am in the boat harbor area, which is at the very end out at the point. And there's a couple little lodges in the area for the fishermen. But this is the seafaring boats that go out. Not so much for tourists, but for the fishermen here in Yakutat. Pretty cool, nice and calm in this little cove here. On a clear day, looking across the boat harbor, the peaks of Wrangell-St. Elias National Park tower above the bay. Mount Logan stands at 20,000 feet and Mount St. Elias at 18,000 feet. Located 30 miles northwest of Yakutat is Disenchantment Bay and Hubbard Glacier. It is very impressive and is North America's longest tidewater glacier. It flows for 75 miles before it arrives at the sea. It is 6 miles wide and the size of a 20 to 30 story building in height. Located 30 miles north of Yakutat is another equally impressive Malaspina Glacier at 40 miles wide and 20 miles long, roughly the same size as Rhode Island. This is the largest Piedmont glacier in the world. Piedmont glaciers are a subtype of valley glaciers which have flowed out onto lowland plains where they spread out into a fan-like shape. Here in Yakutat, one of the major industries is fishing, and so this is one of the canneries here in town, and it's right here in this bay. It's a really pretty spot, but it's one of the main fisheries that they have here. It's a cute little town. Everybody here waves when you drive around town. Nobody really locks a door. Yakutat has a general store that has been in business for nearly 80 years. The quiet and charming fishing village has offices for their city of Yakutat as well as borough. A post office and hardware store, the Tongass National Forest office and a ranger station, the Yakutat Public Safety Building, the Yakutat Elementary School, as well as a Head Start program, and their Yakutat High School, which is home to the Eagles. This is the Fish Train Trail. It's a 2.5 mile gravel trail that ends up near the town of Yakutat, where the original locomotive is located. Let me flip the camera around and head down the trail. So along the trail, this is called the Fish Train Trail, and it's a 2.5 mile wide gravel path that runs along the former Yakutat and Southern, the YAS is what they called it, railroad route. And it transported fresh salmon from Johnson Slough to a cannery that was located here in Yakutat. The original locomotive for the fish train is located up here on the right and at the end of the trail. So this is the old line here, kind of deteriorated, but it makes for a nice little trail hike and some history about the fish train that they had here in Yakutat. So here's the old locomotive up here, and some of the train cars, and pretty cool. This was way back in the day. This was way back in, I'm gonna have to put that at the bottom of the screen, but here's the old locomotive. Very, very cool. So this fish railway was the only one of its kind in the world, and its principal commodity being salmon while it was in season here in Yakutat. So in 1905, the cannery had a capacity of 50,000 cases of salmon per year, and the cannery and railroad played a big part in that several years before it was acquired by the Gorman Company in 1912. And then the McNeil and Libby, you know the word Libby, assumed the operations and ran it until 1951. So when the tribe, there's lots of information here. I'll try and summarize it and put it at the bottom of the screen. But this is a neat little trail here in Yakutat to take and learn about the fish train. So behind me is the Icy Waves Surf Shop, and they have espresso. They're really big on the Italian sodas here, so they sell those as smoothies and pizza. Pizza's pretty expensive. Everything here is pretty expensive. It's like $20 for a pizza, but it was really delicious. It was the bacon and artichoke. But this is the Icy Waves Surf Shop, and it's the surf capital of Alaska. So they sell the gear, they sell the rentals for surfboards, so people can actually go surfing if they'd like out in the Gulf. So this is one place here in town that's pretty interesting, little shop. They sell t-shirts and hoodies and things like that as well. This is the Puget Cove Trail. It goes down to the Puget Cove. It was named after Lieutenant Peter Puget that accompanied Vancouver back in the day in 1794. So they were up here exploring, and they named this Puget Cove after him, similar to the Puget Sound that's in Seattle. It's a very short trail, but it actually does, and it's steep, so have to go back up it, but it's pretty cool. Now, I really have to watch for bears because something did get that fish and bring it up here. So I have to make sure there's no bears in the area fishing, but I'm the only one on the trail, obviously. I can hear something splashing over there, but don't want to surprise somebody, mainly a bear. So beautiful. And there's a little cabin on the water and a couple boats out there. Very cool. Looks kind of low tide right now. Completely quiet. I hear off in the distance a boat motor going across the water and just fish jumping up and making a splash here and there. Oh, there was one right there. Do you see him? Yeah. Wow. There's a mushroom. Big guy. Very nice little quick trail at Puget Cove. Great views. And occasional mushrooms, as well as this thick carpet of moss all over everything. I'm at the Lagoon CCC Trail. The CCC stood for the Civilian Conservation Corps back in the 30s, trying to rejuvenate the nation. Roosevelt started the program to hire men that were out of work to build and put together a better infrastructure. And part of that plan was to hire some of the native Alaskans up here in Yakutat and other smaller communities to build some trail systems, as well as some buildings, little bridges, those types of things for infrastructure. So this little Lagoon CCC Trail was built by the Civilian Conservation Corps back then. I'm going to take this along the lakeside and check it out and see what it has to offer. a European black slug, I believe, right here along the trail. Moving really, really slow. That's just growing amongst the rocks like that. Very interesting. So along the trail, there's this old barge that's like docked in here at the lagoon. I'm like, what is that wooden structure? And I'm like, wait a second, that's a barge or something. So it's like right here. As you can see, it doesn't get high enough to get anything back in here, but at some point, this was able to be pushed back into this lagoon. Along this section of the trail is an old abandoned steam donkey, also called a donkey engine. This was used as a logging engine to move large logs and other heavy items from place to place. The steam donkey was unusual because it could move itself from site to site by attaching to a stump or a log and dragging itself along. This is the Lagoon CCC Trail at the opposite end, up by the apartment complex and playground at the top of the hill. So this is the other end of the CCC Trail, but they call this one the Totem Trail because there's a totem pole that was erected in 2015 for the Tlingit tribe, and it's the first totem pole that has been erected here in this area for 100 years. So, hiking on the Totem Pole Trail, which is 0.7, and hiking out to the totem pole, I finally found it. So, it's like, haha moment. Let's see. So, here we go. So it goes out here to this little lagoon, and of course I've been the only one on all of these trails. Most of the people here are here for fishing and not for sightseeing like I'm doing. But here is the totem pole. I was expecting it to be a little taller after seeing all those totem poles in Juneau, but this one's shorter, but it's the first one that has been erected here since 100 years. So it's right here in the lagoon. Oh, somebody broke the bench. Nice. So here's the lagoon here. Okay. Got it. Okay. Here's the totem pole. The Tlingit totem pole. Nice. And there's a whole story about this totem pole that they erected. This totem pole tells the story of an Eagle Boy from the Brown Bear clan and his love for his father's people and the silver salmon people. The mother grieved her son. She was inspired to have a totem carved as a symbol of her love for her husband's clan and a gift to honor them for supporting her son during his long illness. Though she had no idea what the totem pole would look like, she secretly commissioned an artist telling only her sister of her pain, of her plan. So, a few years later, the mother and father received a message from the spirit, and so this is the telling of that story. Very cool. I like it. It's a cool totem pole. It's got the salmon and the eagle. See the eagle face right there. Yeah, kind of a windmill looking thing on top. Maybe signifying a sun, the sunshine boy. That's what it signifies, the sunshine boy and the salmon. Very cool. Nice little trail. This is a very unique environment. It's in a very remote place, but it's so wet here that this is a temperate rainforest located along the coast, and one of the tallest mountain ranges are off in the distance to the east. So it kind of blocks it in, and so you get a lot of rain here. They get over 180 inches of rain per year here at Yakutat. That's amazing. So you go to the crossroads, is what they call it, and then you make a right-hand turn and you go all the way down. And there's this really long bridge, and this is where a lot of the fishermen fish right off of it. Water's so clear you can see down into the water quite a ways. And beautiful view. It goes right, there's the town right through there, all the way through there. It's got some fish jumping up right there. Like I said, you have the fishermen here on this long single lane wood planked bridge, which is really pretty. And I think it kind of recaps this area as kind of a spot where all the fishermen like to come up to Alaska and fish for the salmon. Just a really cool old bridge, single laner that goes across there, and a lot of times you'll see signs where you can't fish from the bridges, but this one, they allow you to fish from the bridge. So all the fishermen use it so that they can get an angle, a good angle on the fish. Several of these gravestones are made out of wood. And you know, wood doesn't last as long, especially in this environment. But this one has a dog and a little pup right beside it, looking at its owner. And yeah, different little symbols for the Tlingit. They have a, English name, and then they might have like a Tlingit name. But, this trail is called the Veterans Path, and it's right behind the old cemetery down across the bridge. And there's the old cemetery there. Really old tombstones. A lot of them are Tlingit, I believe. So, and then this is the path here, Veterans Path. Just goes to the left and back into the woods here. Gonna check it out. Fishing ships out there. RFCs. See the fishing boats. Lots of driftwood. Here's my ride. Enjoyed my venture here of Yakutat, Alaska. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. And whatever you're doing today, get out to the great outdoors and do something that makes you smile.